the style of working and that environment I was in was sort of the perfect place to sort of learn how I would work in the future, because now I work at a company that's that's in tech, and you're working remotely and all your meetings are online, and learning those skills, it's so much easier to practice and fail while on a virtual internship. As you can imagine, a lot of questions in interviews now would be asking around like remote working and what you do in certain situations. And it's so much easier when you have actual examples because you've done something similar, and getting to know your team through a screen, and all of that. So it's less of the actual calculations or anything, but more of actually how you deal with how you can, I guess, effectively work with other people when there's that whole barrier of being online and you can't just walk over to a desk and ask a question.
So the virtual internship program kind of allowed me to basically get a sneak peek into the career that I wanted to get into after my graduation from a master's. And that's what I wanted to look at. And then later on, when I proceeded with the internship, I realized I had to be at certain standard, certain level.
It was very important, that experience that I had during my virtual internships, because I did my virtual internship with Nesthoma. So what they did, they basically helped different startups. And during those kind of 6 or 8 weeks, I can't remember now, but it was the period of time that I had the time to kind of find out what I like to do, because the company allowed us to kind of explore during the first few weeks, and then the last weeks we could kind of specialize. So, and then during those last weeks, I was in the marketing team. So now at the moment I'm working at Aston University as a marketing coordinator. So I think that quite directly linked, that experience linked to what I'm doing now. During that internship, I was able to, because we took turns in leading a team, and I had never led a team before, so I didn't really think I could lead a team. But I think having that kind of being put in that situation and seeing how that works, and our manager was really, really helpful and really supportive. And so at Nesthoma, how they worked was they did agile working, so everyone's kind of on equal level and you pick and choose your tasks, and then managing in that way was kind of completely different experience from what I've maybe thought in my head a manager would be. So that kind of opened up my eyes that this is kind of, being manager is also a great position. It's not only kind of telling people what to do.
My assumptions about the industry, I wanted to get in it and learn more about it, bring my input to the industry as well. When I started the internship, for me, it was more like about learning and molding myself towards theirs. But by the time I finished my internship, I was more like, I have my certain skill set. These are my core competencies. And, I need to add additional skill sets, but, my core competencies remains that. And I should always, present them at first and, stick to those going forward in the future.
I think the one thing with students is that when you're in that environment, it sort of seems like a dream to be able to work in the career that you want, because we're all so ambitious and we have massive goals and we know where we want to be, but it feels like it's going to be a really long journey, and it feels very out of touch. So I feel like doing my virtual internship just made it feel more tangible and like that's achievable, and I could definitely do it because I've done it now. I've been in that environment. I've observed other people doing the type of work that I want to do in the future. And now that I work at essentially a tech company in e-commerce, it makes sense because it's the same type of thing I was doing in the internship. It's just on a much larger scale. So I think without it, it would have been very, very different. While obviously my master's gave me all the skills I needed, I think in terms of soft skills and being able to adapt to the new environment, that internship was really, really good.
If it wasn't for the internship, I think it would have been really hard for me to get in the industry, because I was a complete outsider, not just from a field, but also as an individual. I came from India as an international student. I came here to get into an industry, and not only did I apply for so many other internships at the same time, but I also got an opportunity to virtual internship. Till today, I'd never got a response back from any of the venture capital firms out there.
Number one is be honest, and number two is don't be afraid to change your mind. So by that I mean, along the way there'll be a lot of opportunities for you to say what you're interested in, what you're not particularly interested in, what you think your skills are in, and a lot of people can sort of feel like they need to say what the right answer is as opposed to saying what they genuinely feel. So at the time, I remember while I was in an investment firm at the time, I got to sit down with one of the supervisors at the time, and he was like, look, what do you want to do? What are your career goals? And I didn't say that I want to work in investment necessarily. I told him I want to be a consultant. This is what I'm good at. I'm really good with people. I'm really good on paper, writing docs. I love doing anything that sort of helps develop the company and like get their name out there. And believe it or not, they started putting me on a lot more projects that had to do with external marketing, and it was perfect because it was exactly what I wanted to get into.
Through the door, once you are there to do internship, you can perform better and you can ask them more questions. You can ask them to give you more tasks so that you work sort of like an employee, not an intern. And then you get the proper, you can get your hands dirty. That's what you do.
I think it's worth using this experience to improve those you feel like you want to kind of be better at. So yeah, I think definitely going in with kind of an idea where you might think you need some improvement, or something that you might be not the most confident about. Of course, show your strengths, kind of use your strengths that you have, so you also give to that company you're working with. But I think also knowing what you want to gain from that experience is really, really helpful.